Well then, if you haven't heard, James Gunn has been officially reinstated as director of Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And, I'm pretty happy about it. So, if for some godforsaken reason you aren't aware of this whole situation, sometime last year, some old tweets that James Gunn had made, they resurfaced because a guy who disagrees with James Gunn on his politics decided to call him out for jokes from 10 years ago. And naturally, Disney was like, "Oh no, we can't possibly have any controversy around us. So what's the rational thing to do? Let's fire James Gunn." And they did. And so after firing James Gunn, what happened? Warner Brothers was all like, "Hey, bruh, you want to come over here and make a movie with us?" And then James Gunn was reinstated. Not reinstated, but he was hired to direct Suicide Squad 2 for Warner Brothers. And then Marvel, they were like, "Oh man, that's not cool." And then, well, actually, before that, I know Dave Bautista was vehemently disagreed with the decision. He was like begging Disney to fire him. The whole entire cast of Guardians of the Galaxy actually like signed a letter and they like posted it on Instagram, sort of requesting James Gunn be brought back to direct the movie. And if I'm gonna be completely honest, I know there was also like a petition with like 400,000 signatures. But if I'm gonna be honest, I actually don't think that any of that actually got Disney to reinstate James Gunn. What I actually think got them to reinstate them was the fact that I don't think any like director that Disney wanted would actually agree to direct the film, because I know for a fact that Taika Waititi, who directed Thor Ragnarok, he said in an interview that he wasn't going to direct it. Right? He specifically used the words, "That's James's movie," and he didn't want to direct it. And my guess is that they tried and reached out to other directors, and they all basically said no, because why would you? Like, yes, it's a high profile film, you're going to get paid a lot of money for it, but, I mean, why would you want to step into that hornet's nest, right? This isn't like an Edgar Wright situation where Edgar Wright and Marvel amicably split, right? Because Edgar Wright was hired on to direct Ant-Man like I believe years before the MCU even started. So by the time they got around to Ant-Man, he like what his original version of the film, like what he originally wanted it to be, was completely different from, I guess, what Kevin Feige wanted with the MCU then. So they amicably split, which I think is fine. Which, like, honestly, I'm not really mad at anybody in that situation there. That's completely different from the James Gunn situation, where he was just fired, taken off of the project. And, but yeah, anyways, all of that happened, right? And so, fast forward to now, James Gunn has officially been reinstated as director. And, yeah, I'm just pretty happy about it, because it kind of gives me a little bit more faith in humanity. Not much faith, but a little bit of faith. Because this whole cancel culture, it's starting to get a little ridiculous. I mean, like, at least when it comes to humor, right? Because, people are, in my opinion, are starting to become way too sensitive about jokes, right? Like, if you're gonna cancel somebody, cancel them because of their actions, not because of a joke they made. Especially not a joke that they made like over 10 years ago. Like, they tried to do it to Kevin Hart, they tried to do it to James Gunn. They tried to do it to they've been trying to do this to a whole bunch of people, and it's just really unfortunate, right? Like, It's not like look at R. Kelly, right? R. Kelly, apparently he's messing around with girls. Like, that is an action. That is something a guy did that is, that is not forgivable. That's awful. That is a valid time to cancel somebody. We just recently found out that I guess Amber Heard was the one abusing Johnny Depp and not the other way around. That is an actual, like, indefensible action, right? That is a viable reason to cancel somebody. Because James Gunn made a joke over 10 years ago. Don't get me wrong, it's a pretty edgy joke. Like, I get it, but it's not like he made it today. Like, he made it over 10 years ago, and at the end of the day, it is still a joke. So that's at least in my opinion, that's not really a viable reason to want to ruin somebody's career, you know? Because, and I mean, I will give you this, right? If he'd made the joke, like, in 2018, and made those jokes in 2018, and Disney then, because of that, decided to part ways with him, I would have understood that, right? Disney has their image to keep up, but the joke was made over 10 years ago, and I also really don't like how Disney kind of... When this whole thing originally started, Disney, like, tried to play it off like, oh wow, now that these jokes have been found out, now that these jokes have been revealed, now that we know about these jokes, we can't continue to work with him. They knew about those jokes. Those were tweets. They were publicly available. There is no way in hell that Disney did not, like, go through all of his social media before hiring him. They're not just gonna give a guy, like, $100,000, $100 million to make a movie without vetting him properly. Like, there's just no way. They knew about the jokes, and that's what really bothered me the most about how Disney handled the situation, is just the way that they sneakily tried to make it look like they're like, oh no, we had no idea about these jokes. Oh my gosh, wow, now that we know about these jokes, now we have to take action. They knew the whole time. But, anyways, so, like I said before, fast forwarding to now, James Gunn is back directing Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And not only does it give me faith in humanity, but it also presents an interesting situation because James Gunn is still also directing Suicide Squad 2. So we currently have one director directing both a Marvel and a DC film. And he's not directing them at the same time, obviously. So first he will direct Suicide Squad 2, and then he will direct Guardians of the Galaxy. But it's really funny how that guy tried to ruin his career over like political disagreement, and he basically just gave James Gunn another job. He got him another job and a shite ton of money because James Gunn, I believe, to get out of his contract with Disney had to pay him because he was contracted to direct Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I believe Disney had to pay him $10 million, $10 million to get out of his contract. Then he got contracted to direct Suicide Squad 2, so that's going to be another payday. And then he had to make a new contract with Disney, and that is yet another payday. Because it's not like he's giving back Disney the $10 million. It's pretty crazy how that guy tried to destroy James's career and is now... And he basically just got him another job and $10 million. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, like, obviously I'm sure James Gunn went through a lot of emotional turmoil throughout this whole process, but I don't think we need to be losing any sleep for him necessarily. And yeah, we got a guy directing both a Marvel and a DC film. So it's kind of crazy. It's like those overzealous fanboys who like pick a side. Like, what are they gonna do now? Are they gonna both hate and love James Gunn at the same time because he's directing at least one of their movies that made by their corporations that they've chosen to side with? I don't know. It's just a pretty interesting situation all around. But yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about the situation. It's just cool, cause yeah, another thing, right? Like, I'm glad that James Gunn is back directing this movie because the Guardians movies are kind of distinctly James Gunny. You know what I mean by that? Like, they have James Gunn's signature style. Like, yeah, Thor Ragnarok was goofy and all, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it's like Taika Waititi has his distinct style and James Gunn has his distinct style. Like, I think it would have been a big mistake to have some other guy come in and like try to copy James Gunn. Like, that wouldn't have really worked, and it also wouldn't have really worked to have some guy come in and direct a generic movie, Guardians movie, because people aren't going to want that either. So I think at the end of the day, this needed to happen for both parties. Yeah, because like you're not gonna get a Peyton Reed to come in and direct a Guardians movie, right? Like that would not work. It just wouldn't. But yeah, I don't know. This is all my thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and yeah, bye.